So I recently made a video talking about the GFX 100 S Mark II versus the Hasselblad X2D and why 20 cupiers linear profiles were quite a game changer and were pushing me more towards using the GFX system over the X2D system. In that video, I inserted a tutorial showing how to use Tony's linear profiles. However, in that tutorial, I applied the linear profile to both the GFX file and the Hasselblad file. And I thought that would show that, the camera output directly themselves were basically identical, but for the color filter array in the Hasselblad, giving like a little bit more saturated colors, perhaps because it's a little bit thicker. But I got a number of comments saying, hey, the magic of the Hasselblad system is its color science. So I'm making this video to show you that, with a couple of, tweaks of the slider, you can basically put a linear profile on the GFX, get the exact same colors, and basically the same file as the X2D. Of course, different lenses render differently, so that aspect you can't change as much, but it really is about, the luminosity and the color applied in making these files look very, very similar. I could pretty much guarantee you that if you took the 4 files I edited, shuffled them up, and showed them to someone, they wouldn't be able to tell which came from which camera. So, I hope this is helpful. Here's the quick tutorial. Let me know your thoughts. Okay. So you can see I am importing 4 raw files into Lightroom here. 2 Fujifilm GFX 100 Mark II files, and then 2 Hasselblad X2D files. So you can see I'm just bringing them in, just straight at a camera here. So Hasselblad's on the left, Fujifilm is on the right here. So, exposure, a little different. I can kind of bring down the exposure in the GFX. But, to my eye, right at a camera, the Hasselblad looks more realistic. The colors are more accurate. It just almost seems like there's more depth to the photo, sort of. And then the Fuji's kind of miscolor. The luminosity, like the light is funky on it. I did overexpose a little bit more on this side, or the camera did. So, just want to compare these two right out of the camera. The point of this video is to show that you can make the Fuji file look just like the Hasselblad right out of camera pretty quickly here. So, I'm going to go use the Tony Kuiper linear profiles here. Put that linear profile on, and boom, almost immediately you see the Fuji file changes. You take the goofy Fuji, film simulation stuff out, and already, flattening out the image, taking out whatever Fuji's doing with luminosity, and you're getting a picture that is already much closer to the Hasselblad image. Still a little blown out more on the cheek, but then you kind of see here much closer overall to the Hasselblad. So I think, this kind of shows that the Hasselblad is doing a lot less to what's coming off of the sensor, the linear image, and the Fuji's doing a lot. My theory is that a lot has to do with the X-Trans sensor, which the GFX does not have. So, anyways, basically all that, to my eye here, Hasselblad is doing to its files is, pushing down on the blacks, raising the whites, adding a little saturation, adding a little vibrance, maybe a little orange, a little red. The sensor or like its ISO interpretation tends to run a little warm. So that's what I'm going to do to this file here pretty much. I'm going to bring the exposure sort of matches the Hasselblad one now that it's been linearized. Bring up the saturation a little bit here so the blues start to match. Bring up the vibrance. Bring down the blacks. So you kind of get the same shadow kind of detail and stuff. Bring up the whites. I think I went too far in the saturation, so I'm going to bring that back a little bit. Let's see, is warm it up a little bit maybe? Yeah, it was a little warm. And then maybe add a little orange in. I think that's, that tends to be the Hasselblad way of doing things. Maybe a little red. Bring the saturation again. And then, there you go, pretty much. I think these look awfully similar. I could go a little more saturated, maybe, a little more vibrant to really get it close. But, I mean, to me, that is essentially the same color profile, right? The blues pretty much match. You could bring down the contrast a little bit. The Hasselblad files tend to be a little less contrasty. So, play with the highlights a little bit, maybe. Shadows. But yeah, I mean, in terms of color, those look pretty much identical to me. Obviously you're using two different lenses. The Fujifilm lenses tend to render sharp, a little bit flatter. The Hasselblad lenses, render a little like softer, less contrasty, but then you get like a nicer wraparound kind of a thing. So I guarantee you, if I put these two files in a set together, you would not be able to tell the difference between the two. You would know which one came from which camera. I mean, they're just so close. Okay, let's do another example. Okay, so to switch it up, just so like it's not left eye, right eye thing. Now I put the Hasselblad file on the right, and I put the Fujifilm file on the left. You can kind of see this is where the Fuji lens sort of outperforms the Hasselblad lens. It's just a lot sharper and cleaner. But like I say, the Hasselblad lens, at least right at the jump, kind of does give like a nicer rendering there. But again, this is about making the Fuji files look like the Hasselblad files. So, okay, I linearize it with Tony Kuiper's linear profile. Same kind of thing here. Add a little saturation. Add a little vibrance. I'm gonna need to bring that saturation down, I bet. And then you add in some black. You add in some white. Bring the exposure up so they match. I think maybe need to play with the white balance a little bit here. And then bring that saturation back now. I think I put too much black in there. Trying to get it just right for you here. So you play with the saturation to get it just right. It's a balance of the saturation and the black here. So yeah, there is one little color off here, so I'm going to use point color to pick that up, but otherwise, again, super fast. And I'll say that the color is actually, it's actually more accurate. That particular color, I think the Hasselblad kind of blew out. That color is actually more accurate in the Fujifilm. So there you go. Within a few little pushes of the sliders here, you can make the GFX file look effectively identical to the Hasselblad file, maybe even a little bit better, especially if you zoom in and look at the watch face on this one. But yeah, I mean, color-wise, those blues are identical. The pinks are identical, at least to my eye. So there you go. So what did you think? Did those files look pretty close? Did the colors match? Did I miss anything in doing this? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.